Thank you for joining us again. Mind you, this is the website with news. You may not have heard, but perhaps you have, that President Trump recently went on a secret mission to Israel. He had a massive heart attack and died. The Jewish authorities were obviously very shocked, and because he'd been good to them, he'd moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and they offered the US people a cheap funeral, but not cheap because all the bells and whistles to honour the great man, but just for $100. The US officials said, what's the alternative? Oh, said the Jewish people, it would cost at least $50,000 to take Donald back to Washington DC with all the security arrangements, etc. The US officials thought about it and said, no, we'll take him back to the United States. What? Said the Jewish authorities. We're offering you $100 funeral with everything involved, and you are prepared to spend $50,000. Why? Well, recently, a time ago, there was a fellow who died in Jerusalem and was buried, and 3 days later he rose, and we don't want to take any risks with the Donald. That's a pretty Easter story, isn't it? Hope you've heard that before. To come to today's gospel, and for many of you this gospel will have a bit of an ouch sense, I would have thought, because this is the gospel perhaps that you chose as the funeral gospel for one of your deceased relatives. If you are feeling a little ouchy about as you heard Francis proclaim the gospel, know that we are with you in spirit, and know too that your pain is because of your deep love for your deceased relative, friend. Today's gospel too, notice the connection between the gospel and Mother's Day. In this familiar gospel, Jesus speaks about many rooms in my Father's house, and we've been spending many rooms in our own homes, haven't we? How lucky we are to have a home. How special homes are. Often people coming back from holidays say, oh, it's just lovely to be back home. Mind you, spending more and more time 24/7 together in the one place can cause and give us a few challenges, can't it? Yet I've been delighted that a few of you have been saying to me how surprised and pleased you are that your family is getting on well together this time, even if homeschooling and trying to work from home certainly is tiring and very real in its demands. For myself, isolated a bit here at Parish House, what I've missed is getting into your homes, having a bite to eat with you, and just finding out how things are going for you. That's not a hint. Oh, well, maybe it is. But my main point, folks, today is please reflect on and continue the nurturing and the reality that the home environment allows. It's the home, isn't it, where home truths are spoken. The home is the place of ego levelling. It can be so because, at its best, the home is also a place of safety and protection. Now, sorry or not if this is old-fashioned, but I see mothers as still being central in this nurturing process. A few years ago, fellow parishioner Liz White, Liz who, with Greg Hodson, keeps our grounds looking superb and cared for, Liz reflected on motherhood, some of you may remember. I asked her if I could use some of her lovely phrases, and with her permission, I wish to conclude with a couple of comments on motherhood from a real live mother. Liz started off her reflection saying, "It's dawned on me that regardless of how long a mother has been a mother, there's still quite simply that, a mother. A mother, a mum, mummy, whatever you're called, you will always have that title. You'll have that title for the rest of your life. And what a privilege it is." Being a mother is about being a teacher. It's also about learning. While teaching my children about the world around them and how to be good people, I'm learning and practicing all the qualities and values that I want them to have. Patience, kindness, understanding, appreciation. The list is endless. It is about setting an example while learning from the generations of mothers who have come before us. It's about teaching right from wrong and giving lots of praise. Personally, says Liz, motherhood is the best job I've ever had. I feel so lucky to be a mother. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of being a mum is the overwhelming sense of love that I have for my children. It's that all-enduring, all-encompassing love that feels like it could make you burst and make you laugh and cry, and sometimes at the same time. Well, thank you, Liz, and thank you all, our mums.